What is going on, Bombad fam? It is me, Scotty, and I'm here to tell you, if you love the Bombadcast, you will love every other podcast in this network. Yes, the Beyond the Blast Doors network. We've got people like Around the Galaxy with Pete Fletzer's a Star Wars fan talk show with new guests every week, and some of the guests are top tier, I'm telling you. We got Postcards from Galaxy's Edge. There's a focus on the behind the scenes of Star Wars with award-winning VFX editor Shannon Moran. We've got Holo Chronicles. These dudes, Josh and Andy, all they talk about is Star Wars collectibles and how to collect and what it means to collect, and a lot of other topics around that as well. We've got the Beyond the Blast Doors live show. It's the only live weekly Star Wars talk show that is every Thursday, and we have streaming Star Wars, which is every Friday, and it has to deal with all things Disney Plus related, any new releases, anything that's come out that day, even news. So, if you enjoy Bombadcast, you should definitely contribute as well to our Patreon. So, enjoy this episode and stay bombad.
Who's the guy Bombad?
To the Bombadcast.
What is up, everyone? This is your boy, the Canon Junkie, and this is another edition of the Bombadcast. I am here just chilling on a Saturday afternoon, right? Bombad Saturdays with my boy and our other my boys, Scotty, J-Ro, and Eric Kottemann. What is up, Scotty and Eric?
My boy.
Long have I waited.
Boy.
What a great line.
The great, amazing line. It's like automatically
really great.
holding possession of him, just instantaneously, like, my boy.
What's up, Bombad fam?
Yeah, Bombad E
What
in
is
video.
up?
How cool is this? Bombad E in video form. Fantastic. So
Crazy. It's about time. It is about to. I was telling you guys earlier that it's about time people finally saw the beautiful, handsome white Jesus that is Mr. Eric Kottemann. So
young Qui-Gon.
Good to finally have you on.
Young Qui-Gon, people.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having me, dude.
Young Qui-Gon.
Of course. No, well, this we okay, let me explain what happened with this. I was on my way to a Chinese restaurant when I thought of this episode. Because I kid you not, I was like getting takeout, I was starving, and I just got off the phone with him, and I'm sitting here like, oh my god, we had the Bombad build up with Eric, right? And we're like, let's have him back on to then do once this arc is done, the Siege of Mandalore arc, because we can talk about the parallels. And I'm pretty sure the first episode had just came out. Right. So it was like already on my mind, right? And of course I get the food. Pretty sure I put y'all in a group text. And were we already in a group text? I don't remember. Or no?
Maybe? Oh, we were already in a group text.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. That depends. Was this like pre-quarantine?
No,
this
is during
get Chinese food?
Yeah,
or?
This is during quarantine. This is yeah.
Okay.
I think we are in group text.
Oh yeah. We had group chat, man, for a while now. Like we were us, and then we had to kick Paul out actually of the group chat, just because that was.
Yeah, he was really upset.
Yeah, he was super upset.
I think he's writing a whole album about it.
Yeah, dude. Wait. Speaking of Paul, did I send a screen? Look at this. Wait, I'll show the camera first. Literally, he posted this today, like moments ago. It says, "With my son,
man.
Darth Maul, doing some shopping." How amazing is that? How amazing is that? I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. Paul.
Who is he with? Is he with Daisy Ridley? Who is he with?
No, he's with his. He's with his son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not Daisy Ridley then.
No, his son's Darth Maul.
I didn't know his son was Daisy Ridley.
But I'm so glad to have you back on because of this discussion we're about to have, and I guess we can get right into it. What we're discussing today essentially is what we refer to and what has been dubbed the Siege of Mandalore. Only because I guess Siege. It's the title of the episode right down here. It is The Siege of the Sith. Now, it's a weird thing, but Jerry found an edit of The Siege of Mandalore mixed in with Revenge of the Sith. And so I thought it'd just be easy to make the title The Siege of the Sith, because we're really discussing, it's kind of like our very last after arc show for Clone Wars ever, as we think, in terms of now, because we don't know if there's going to be more Clone Wars. That whole article that came out, that's like, we'll do some more. But what I'm trying to say, I need to stop beating around the bush. We're going to kind of talk about the tie-ins between this last arc of Clone Wars with Revenge of the Sith, because there are some massive ones. Some really weird sequel trilogy stuff, too, that is also involved with it. But, Jerry, tell us about the Siege of the Sith, because you've actually watched the cut of it.
Well, Siege of the Sith, it's a little like, it reminded me of like watching the extended editions of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
With like all the appendices and everything, but also mixed with that 4-hour version of Watchmen that I've never watched. My friend was gifted it years ago for a birthday, and he still hasn't watched it. So shout out to my friend Phil, who I'm betting like 12 years later still hasn't watched that Watchmen director's cut with like the black the whatever the pirate cartoon is mixed in. But that's kind of what it reminded me of. But it's amazing how beautifully edited together it was. In fact, I was watching a little bit of it. I had to watch it in parts because it's like almost 4 hours long.
It's long.
I mean, this is a monster, right?
Yeah.
It's huge. And I had to, I watched a little bit of it with my lovely wife and child. And it was funny. Allison was telling me, she's like, if you're not looking at it, you can't tell that it's like two different things. Like it just sounds like the same thing. Like it's all mixed together. It's just the same movie. It looks like you're watching. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I don't know, man. There were parts, especially the way they did Order 66, and how they had the scene of Mace confronting Palpatine. Like he's got Palpatine down, Anakin's got to make his choice. You hear that come through when like I guess having her vision and stuff right before Order 66, happens, of course. And man, the way they cut that together, they showed more of the Ahsoka part, honestly.
Yeah,
and it
that was
kind
cool.
of beautiful. And it really, the first time it hit me, or the first time I watched it, it just was like raw emotion, dude. Just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think I was actually still watching with Allison and Eleanor, and so I was just like, I'll be okay. Let's just eat lunch. Yeah, dude, it was insane.
I had the chance to skim through it, and I even noticed that they did a really good job of cutting where George would have cut in the scenes in Clone Wars and doing like the swipes and stuff. I thought it was like really tasteful how they did that.
It almost made like it kind of did bring that aspect of George with like there was one wipe I never seen in a Star Wars they did, and it was like a from the corner wipe, and I'm like, that actually kind of worked if they ever were to really utilize that wipe, which is interesting. We could do a whole episode on wipes, by the way.
You could.
You really could.
Have they not used a corner wipe?
They've done wipes, I believe, from the top, but I've never seen it from the bottom going up. And I was like,
didn't George even use like the circle ones?
Yeah, could he use the small circle ones? The one that he's done circle out, circle in, and he's done like the I was watching something, dude, and I'm like, what a weird cut. But they did the literal the 4 circles, and they did
that's what I'm talking about.
That one, It's so weird.
Prequels, I'm sure.
It's so 70s, man. I love it. Dude, there's a great one in Force Awakens where it's like Hux and Kylo are talking, and he goes about find that droid, and then it goes circles out from Hux's face to a circle of dust in the desert, and Finn looking for water or whatever. It's amazing. I love those little weird wipes and stuff. But anyway,
clever. But anyway, they did do that well. They did do that so well of when to cut, where to put things. I don't know. I love that part of editing because it's such a big important thing to do, and like there was some hard cuts too, and the actual thing literally just cut to the next moment, whatever it would have been. It could have been I don't know. I was super impressed with the actual edit itself, and I didn't get to watch the full thing. I probably did the same thing as you, to just skim through it. And I guess the whole idea of this episode, the whole idea of this episode was really kind of to talk about how they all tied in together. And has your opinion, Jerry, of like the Clone Wars changed at all because of Revenge of the Sith? I'm sorry, vice versa. Has Revenge of the Sith changed at all because of that final arc in Clone Wars?
I think yes, 100%. Yeah. Even just watching it, like every week when it was coming out, we knew it was going to be. I mean, it hasn't been edited into a movie officially, but
no,
like there are guys out there on YouTube, like people on YouTube. We've talked about what was it with the chat? We were talking about with. Hello Greedo, about how there's almost like this punk rock underground movement of fan edits and stuff. And I think there's going to be this is going to be the next like big fan edit wave is this thing, dude. But like watching that like all cut together, but also just watching it week to week, like from the first episode, I already had like canon completely changed, and I think my favorite of the chopped up episodes, like of the just the 4 episode arc, is that first one. Yeah, with Anakin and Obi-Wan and them coming back in. That I think is my favorite one, even more than the duel in the second one, and then Order 66 and the escape. Like, it's all good. It's all good, but there's something about those first few where it's like there was like canon established for the prequels, for the sequels, for Rebels, for Mandalorian. That first episode had the most Mandalorian flavor too, to me.
Oh, totally.
Like there was so much of that I was like, okay, now this is a perfect bridge. That episode to me felt like the bridge that connected everything that we have so far, honestly. It felt like, well, okay, everything just fell into place for me all of a sudden. You've got even down to what's his name wearing like the Mandalorian armor and stuff. The puppet ruler.
What's his name? The one that we just watched get killed. Son of a gun. Well.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy. He had
two holes in the chest, McGee.
Yes. He had like that regal Mando armor with like the gold plates and stuff. Oh my god, it was beautiful.
Yeah, he makes Han Solo look like a preschooler.
Really cool. But I think even after that first episode, I was never going to watch Revenge of the Sith the same ever again, because that's literally where Anakin and Obi-Wan were right before they flew off to save Palpatine. And I also really, really love that little back and forth between Ahsoka and Obi-Wan.
Yes.
Like, I identify with my girl Ahsoka so much. Just like the whole thing about like, okay, so I had kind of lost faith with the Jedi, right? Okay. And I was reminded recently of what the Jedi really stand for, what we should stand for. And you guys are just going to fly off because we got to save the political leader because he needs us, so we can't help these people who are in need. The whole thing where like, and then just that, I love the exchange of Obi-Wan going, "That's not fair," and Ahsoka's stone cold line, "The truth hurts, baby." He said, what was it? I wasn't trying to be.
Yeah.
Girl. Oh, that was amazing. Oh my god.
It's good. And that moment was pretty awesome because you see so many things set up from that point on. Like the fact that also kind of go back a little bit, Obi-Wan saving Commander Cody from that missile, and then Anakin having his Luke Skywalker moment on Crate. There's so many like true parallels. Before I thought about this just for a second because we all have varying opinions. Like we really do. your favorite episode from this arc, and Jerry just said his. Jerry, yours was the first one, right?
I think it is. Even going back through, there's moments in each one. There's so much good stuff throughout, but there was so much good jam-packed into that first episode.
Sure.
2 amazing action set pieces as well. So
yeah. What about you?
Mine's the third one.
Yeah. Third arc.
Yeah, it just is what we were promised. Mm-hmm. So I was super, super hyped, and it was one of those things that we knew after the first episode, we knew where we were. Yeah. But you didn't know how they were going to address something. So first of all, I was super geeking out.
Oh, totally.
When they did the hollow call between all the Jedi. Oh. And they did it shot for shot.
So good.
From Revenge of the Sith. I went back and watched it. Literally the same exact. It's about as close as they can get. Yeah. But it was pretty much every single shot was the same, and then it ends, and then Mace turns and starts talking to Ahsoka. Yeah. And he's like, I heard you did well on your mission, or whatever. Yep. That was the first big geek out moment for me. And then that was just hearing her hearing the whole turn, I guess. Yes. What is Anakin's dark deeds? Yep. Mm-hmm. Like everything from that moment that was done so tastefully, and then the fact that they were playing that track as she was escaping. Oh. I was just like, I know what's going on. This is so great.
If I'm not mistaken, does that episode... No, I think it's the fourth one. The fourth one starts with Qui-Gon's funeral and Padme's funeral theme.
Oh, really? Ooh. See, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Maybe.
Yeah, it starts with that. But no, that... God, I think it's weird. I think it honestly depends on what episode hits you the most. That one hit you the most. It hit me pretty hard, too. I was crying. Katie could tell you. She was like, oh, my God. You wouldn't stop. Oh, dude. And then it was bad. Like, I don't know. That kind of hit me.
That one hit me. That one hit me emotionally, too. It made, like, I may really love... There's a lot of just fun stuff in that first episode for me. But, dude. Yeah. I mean, do we want to get into some of that emotional punch there?
Well, I want to say one thing because I thought... It's cool that we all have different opinions because mine was the one we just watched, The Phantom Apprentice. Thought that was amazing. Like Maul being so in tune to everything, and for the longest time everyone blamed him as being a crazy person, Right. And the fact that he was so in tune to the whole grand scheme, and him and Ahsoka's parallels. I know we're going to get into that later, but like something about that episode because we literally had just watched it just to talk about it, and like. There's just so many small things. The concept of the Phantom Apprentice, which I want to get into as well. That's a dense thing to discuss because I don't know. There's a lot of payoff to watching the series in that episode with Maul being back, with Ahsoka being abandoned. All of that is brought up so many times, and it's huge.
The nice thing about these 4 episodes is like, if you have a friend who likes Star Wars, and they haven't gone into all like the deeper stuff, I would feel confident enough to be like, go watch these last 4 episodes.
It'll change you.
And if you like them, go back and watch everything. Yeah. And if anyone had like if anyone was like, well, you shouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. That's how Star Wars has been watched like since the dawn of its existence.
Yes, exactly.
You know what happens, and then go back and see how it plays out. I think you can enjoy it on a very base layer. I mean, I think y'all said it. Like it's so funny. It's almost like Dave redeeming the movie that they made.
Yes. It's like they should have done a show and then ended with a movie.
It's like, and I've read a lot of people have been going back and they're seeing the movie differently.
Oh, totally.
Now that the show, I might go try it myself. But it's almost like Dave was like, look at what we've done. Yeah. Look at this journey we've all gone on together. Gosh. And for me, the thing... Clone Wars didn't change Revenge of the Sith is still my favorite movie.
Of course.
Mm. This did nothing to like heighten that or lower it, to be honest. Mm-hmm. It just made me realize that there's like so much story still left in the Clone Wars or the prequel era. You don't have to go specifically Clone Wars. I hope that Disney keeps us in this timeline. Yeah. At some way or the other. It could be within the Clone Wars.
It could be when Ahsoka leaves. Yeah. Like it really could be anything.
That's another thing. It's almost like the first 2 arcs were like their own season. Yeah. It is so crazy.
It is.
You can almost call like the last 4 episodes season 7.5 if you really want to.
You're not wrong.
For real.
But
it was heavy. Everything was heavy. It was the first time Clone Wars, and it's so weird because I talked to another friend, my friend Richard, about it, and I was like, I love where it took me. I was like shocked the whole time. He goes, well, I really wasn't shocked because I knew no one would die. And that's okay. You don't have to know anyone that dies. But like how they did it, dude, it's just like Revenge of the Sith when it came out. How George executed it was the most important part. And the fact that Ahsoka had her moments, and then even Maul had his moments, Rex had his moments. Everything was so tastefully done. I don't know. I'm just impressed that Dave really pulled it off. And, of course, my big thing is no one says anything negative about it. No one. And there's nothing to say negative about it because he did it so well. He did it the way probably George would have done it, honestly. Probably the most, this is going to be bad, but this is the most George stuff released during the Star Wars era.
Yeah.
Like during the Disney era, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, it is so George.
I'd
just
see
like
that, yeah.
the cuts, all of it. I don't know. It's weird. Like,
it did feel very George. It was it was self-referential in the right way.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I'm just stuck on the whole like I understand like you're right, it is very heavy and all that. And I know like the thing with prequels that people don't like is the whole, well, you know, if it's characters we know grow up or we know nothing happens to them. I'm like, why does everything have to be about if someone lives or dies? You know, I want to see someone's story, you know, like what's the emotion that's attached to it. And I mean, it's cool if you, I don't know. There's so much in this. And Eric, just a point to what you were saying earlier, like the way they made this, you could have someone watch this first for sure. But it is something that rewards you for
absolutely.
as much as you've seen.
Totally.
That's what I love about this whole thing is it's so accessible, but it is so rewarding. And that's what these should be. You know, you should be able to come in at any point and kind of get where it's going.
Because then you'll think...
But then be able to go back and then like...
Because
whoa,
you'll say,
okay,
Maul,
wow.
wait, I thought he's been dead. Well, I don't understand. Then you can go back to the Maul arc and be like, oh, this makes more sense. Because there is so much later, because you'll watch Ahsoka and be like, who is this? Let me know more about this person. Because by this point, Ahsoka's so intriguing. Everything about her. Everything about her is so cool. And like, the fact that she is not a Jedi and, you know, I'm no Jedi. It's just so... And also, it gives credence to Rebels, too, in every way. Like, Troy, this past week, we also watched the what's the big arc in season 2 of the 2-episode arc?
Twilight of the Apprentice?
Yes, we watched that together. We watched that Friday night. And when we watched it, we kept noticing so many parallels. Like, Maul and Ahsoka are not on bad terms in that. I mean, they have the quarrel towards the end of it, but the whole time, they're like, there's no animosity there, which is really weird. And I would love to see that because that relationship is one of the things I really want to kind of deep dive.
Yeah, no.
It's weird.
I think this is a fun argument to have, but what is Dave's greatest achievement, Ahsoka or Maul?
Wow.
You could almost say that's like George's like take 2. Like he was like, okay, let's do with Maul, but I don't know, dude.
Because you make Maul from just like the stoic, you know, evil dude, and then you turn him into this super complex character. But by the time you're watching him hang in the air and he's screaming, you feel bad.
Dude, you feel it.
And
God, that's a good point.
They have this cool, it's almost like they have this really cool, and you know, it's like poetry, it rhymes. They have the Vader and Luke kind of characteristics, but also that Ben and Rey, or I guess Kylo and Rey.
I'll accept the Ben and Rey.
Yeah, well, there was one part of Clone Wars where they're like kind of close. Oh no, that was with Rex.
Yes,
there was one part with Rex. I'm like, please don't kiss Rex.
No, dude. Though, okay, if we're talking about parallels between Ben and Rey.
Yeah.
The whole Maul and Ahsoka right before their duel, where like he's. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's do it. Because that's what sold me on this arc. Because I knew they were going to do it, and I knew they were going to of course, we knew Order 66. We knew Ahsoka would have to face some crazy stuff. That was the moment I'm like, they totally had me there.
Yeah.
Like what? Like the fact that he extends her arm. And the way Maul handles everything, it's so amazing and nonchalant. He literally looks at Bo-Katan and goes, better go handle that. Like,
don't stay on my account.
Don't stay on my account.
Have you seen like the people like sitting like mall challenge or whatever? Like, there's been like people posting pictures. Of them, like,
That's awesome.
All, like, it's pretty great.
But Maul,
dude,
Maul's one of the greatest things that's happened in the Clone Wars.
Oh, totally. Totally. I agree. Jay, what would you want to say?
Jack is back, and
Dr.
he's on
Evil.
video now. So there you go, buddy. There you go. You can get over the lower third. There you go. Dude, just the whole where they're talking, he's like, join me, and he's got his hand out like that, and then the window explodes, and the debris and the ash, and like just all of that like comes through, and is floating in the air. How Last Jedi throne room scene was that?
It was.
I mean, that whole. You can't tell me that wasn't like a parallel between that, man. Like that 100% is like, here, the dark side are telling the light side are like,
what's
come
going
with
down?
me. I know what you're going through. They're like, they are like almost like soulmates, not in like a romantic way, like Ben and Ray, but
something just dawned on me.
Still, like two people like going through something so similar.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know how you feel. Help me stop it.
Yes.
Is
the concept of the Phantom Apprentice, something else just clicked, Eric, and like this. The Phantom Apprentice, that's the name of the title of the episode, obviously. But it means so much because you think, oh, the Phantom Apprentice, Maul. Then you say, well, wait a second. That could be Anakin because that was the intention the whole time. But it just dawned on me. It could almost even be an Easter egg for Ahsoka. Because if you watch the movies, Ahsoka is essentially the Phantom Apprentice. You don't see her. You know what I mean? That is a pretty much Vader's secret apprentice.
Right. So yeah, that's really cool.
That's weird, huh?
But that is something that they've done really well post George is having like the best word I can come up was like a triple entendre. Yeah. With these like titles, like even the sequel trilogy movies have like multiple layers behind them. It's not just one concrete meaning. Yes. Which is great. And to Jerry's point, this throne room thing, it's like it rhymes with everything else, but they're like turning the dial up a little bit every time. Because like even visually, like the wreckage between Ben and Ray, like it's like, it's flaming, it's fire, but like they're in space, so they're not going to break the window. No. But like they literally shattered the window. Yep. I've been trying to figure out what that window is at the end, like what the when I guess Maul... just like or I guess at the end too of that episode, which is like looking up through the sky. I don't know. There's something there. I haven't put my finger on it, but I guess maybe just like a crack in the system or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. But
Eric.
But that's Dave Filoni, which is George Lucas. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Which is the new George.
So
how beautiful is that shot? Sorry, that last shot of that episode where like she's looking up and then you see the shot of her with like the city beneath her. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was so cinematic, man. It was. All of that incredible. That fight underneath whatever platform that was. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like that explanation you kind of broke into. It is weird because she does look up into it, and then you can tell something does happen in her face. Light. Where she's like, "What just happened?" And I think if I could interpret it, I think it's when Palpatine literally is like,
he's telling him,
I am, I can save her. I can save her, that whole moment in the hallway. I don't know, like this Clone Wars really does just give Maul such an important thing, like Maul at this point, it almost doesn't make sense why he's even there. I mean, I haven't read the comic, but like to have him be so pivotal in this moment is not only a testament to all of Clone Wars, but to what Maul represents, being the Phantom Apprentice. He's not the Phantom Menace. He is the apprentice to that person. He is the one that is going to that obviously wanted to change the tide of the war. And it really could have happened. And one thing I think is so important is that Dooku and Maul both straight up are like, this is what is happening. Listen. And each time the Jedi's hubris fails them, what did they not do? Listen. They don't listen. They're just like, I don't believe you.
It's crazy.
They're too busy, like Mace Windu's too busy thinking of sassy like comebacks to Ahsoka because he's still butthurt about her leaving the order.
Yes.
We asked you back.
It's ridiculous. And like
ungrateful little Padawan.
No, it's crazy. Like, Dooku's like straight up says, like, what if I told you that the Senate and the whole Republic was run by a Sith Lord?
Yes. He's like, no, I don't believe you. We would have known that. That's the thing. The Jedi would have known that. They would have felt that darkness, and they don't. Mm-hmm. And that's the best part of it. And then even Ahsoka's like, how dare you? Like,
well, dude, she even falls trapped to it because she goes, I know Anakin.
Yep.
And it's like,
do you?
The thing is, but what's crazy is, this is an interesting one because Clone Wars, I think for a lot of people has like validated Anakin's turn.
Yes.
Because how it's like gradual.
Super gradual.
But Ahsoka knows about him being with her. But I guess, and my Clone Wars knowledge is a little rusty, I will admit. But I don't remember if he ever talks to her about losing his mother.
I don't know.
So I guess...
Do you know, Jerry?
I don't think, but they deal with the loss of the mother in the Mortis arc, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
Because, I mean, he has the whole vision of his mother.
But the other two are passed out.
Darn brother.
Mm-hmm. They're passed out. They don't remember it. And then they all wake up with amnesia anyway.
Right.
Which is so interesting.
I love the Mortis arc, man. I don't care what you say. That's such a good arc. But, you're mentioning that she knows of Anakin and Padme's relationship. That's actually from Galaxy of Adventures.
Oh,
and stuff. That's a Galaxy of Adventures drop.
Because
I remember the day that happened, going like, "Wait, what? She knew the whole time."
Interesting.
I mean, it's funny because this whole time we're like, how did no one know?
Yeah.
I mean, where's Anakin going all the time? You know, like, how do they spend? Do they never spend time together and stuff? And then you find out from that Ahsoka knows. And in the beginning of this new final season, the Bad Batch arc, that great part where he's talking and Rex knows.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan's like, tell Padme I said hi. Like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. Okay. I guess I won't tell the Jedi that you're sexting a senator or anything, but okay, whatever. You know.
I think the movies did a pretty good job of like indicating that Obi-Wan knew.
Yeah, when he's like, Anakin's the father, isn't he?
I love that. Anakin's the father, isn't he? I'm so sorry.
Well, I kind of want to bring up Obi-Wan now because now it just hit me. That moment where like Ahsoka's face is incredible. And you pointed it out. Whenever Obi-Wan's like, he killed Count Dooku, and we would have gotten all the information from him. He would have told us, obviously. And then Ahsoka's like, what? Anakin? And like, yeah. And the fact that it was Palpatine, I was like, do it. He pushed him to the edge to do it. Oh, it's so killer. It's good.
Well, like, man, Maul talking about how he's long been groomed. Like, the whole time. Like, this.
Awesome.
So, talking about how dirty grooming feels to begin with. Just like, ooh, but like, just... Then you see him in Phantom Menace, though, like putting his hand on that 10-year-old boy's shoulder, like, we'll watch your career with great interest. Stay away from him.
Yeah.
Stay away from him, you dirty politician.
I'm telling you. That's why I love that's why I love The Phantom Apprentice so much, because it did something I did not expect, which was Maul straight up like, y'all, I know everything about this. Like, I know what's going to happen. And I think that's what made it so cool. And him, I don't know, like, Maul also, like, kind of hyped up the Mandalorians before that battle, too. And then there's that line that completely parallels the Mandalorian, which is crazy. He says, we look at us, we're hiding in the gutters, I want y'all to feel like warriors. You're going to be warriors. And, like, what happens? What happens? The Siege of Mandalore, obviously, something fails after it. The Night of 1,000 Tears. Like, we don't know yet.
I think Night of 1,000 Tears doesn't come till after Rebels, honestly. I think that's in the middle of the original trilogy, man.
You think it's the Empire that, like...
I think
they straight up say in The Mandalorian it's the Empire that causes
I don't know. Because they're all mad he's helping Imperials. Remember? He was what was he? Because the bounty was for...
They're in control of all the Beskar and stuff, and like when we leave them in Rebels, they're like, all right, hey, we're kind of scattered, but we're good.
Remember? Because like, Sabine holds the blade.
We're solid. Bo-Katan's got the dark saber. Now we're getting into different stuff, but
no, it's still that's part of it. That's the thing. That's the thing about the Siege of Mandalore. It's set up.
This added so much to everything. So much to everything. That's what I'm saying, dude. That's a great point. I did not think about it until earlier because it closed so many doors, but damn well it did open a ton more. Like so good, so good. I think we're going to get the Night of 1,000 Tears maybe just in Mandalorian. But I really do. I've thought this whole time. I'm like, I think that is after Rebels. That's like a New Hope here. Like I think like after a New Hope, they're like pissed off that they blew up their death ball, and they're like, let's go kick some dogs and stuff, man. Like let's turn over some outhouses and stuff.
The Empire's
like,
just a teenager.
Would that be a flashback then?
Yeah, it would be. That'd have to be.
They're like just striking out against the entire galaxy. Like, you do not mess with us. So why go after? Why wouldn't you go after this warrior race who's like starting to fight back? You know, Night of 1,000 Tears, man. It's gonna suck.
Well, Jerry, I kind of want to bring this back up real quick because it's kind of interesting because new Star Wars is tying in with old Star Wars, which this is the weirdest combination of it all. And there's a lot of parallels throughout this arc alone that reference Rise of Skywalker, that reference TLJ, the reference Rogue One, even Solo. We get Dryden frickin' Voss. What? How sweet was that? That was so tasty. That was Cannon Junkie, like that was like straight up IV in the arm Cannon Junkie moment there, for real.
Because,
are you kidding me?
And like it had the Black Sun leader too from the earlier Clone Wars episode.
Yes.
Sorry, Andy.
Yes.
Sorry, Andy and Pete and
Josh.
guys. It's not Shizor. I'm sorry. It's like some other dude with an. He's a big buff lizard, but it might maybe he changes his name later. Who knows? You know,
maybe.
But it's not Shizor.
But anyway,
so come at me.
But anyway, the drill into the arm, like that moment was so like Solo's one of my favorites, and like it for real was like seeing him and he was just doing his same Dryden Voss thing, standing right there, and then
like we got the name drop of Crimson Dawn in the last arc of the Ahsoka arc, right? Mm-hmm. And to see him come from, and I've read that the comic book of how he gets from. Palpatine's devices to like where he is there, and it's essentially him. Basically, he flexes his underworld connection muscles, right? And like he calls his buddies, he gets out and stuff, and like the whole thing that you want me to spoil it for you, or do you know what it is?
Yeah, please. No, please, because I mean, for our listeners, if you haven't read it yet,
if you haven't read that, I mean, was it Son of Dathomir? Great arc. Yep. It was like one of the last things.
4 comics, right?
It was the last thing Dark Horse did before everything went over to Disney. But it basically Palpatine's plan. He's like, I have other uses for you, or whatever. The use was to get Darth Maul's mother Talzin. You find out that is his mom. To basically come out of the shadows, and it's basically Palpatine kills Mother Talzin and gets her out of the way. That was the whole purpose of that. And then Maul gets taken away by his underworld buddies, like the Black Sun, the Pikes, and all that. Mm-hmm. And then starts Crimson Dawn, apparently. So
cool.
There you go. And then here we have him now. Now we just need to know how he like ends up like with nothing on Malachor. That is the story. I want. Hashtag make Solo 2 happen. The Disney Plus series. You know.
Yeah.
Like show. I hope it's Kira. I hope Kira just like maroons him there.
That's what I thought.
I think it's very evident that they have plans or had plans or will continue to have plans for Maul. Mm-hmm. It's weird. I've talked to Scott about this several times. And I'm cool with this fact, but it's almost like Star Wars is getting into like comic book territory where like
for real.
A dead character is still alive in our minds.
Yeah.
A character that we know exactly when he dies, how he dies, it still has so much more story to tell. And that's like the cool thing about Star Wars is that technically we have 19 years worth of gap of Darth Maul stories.
Yeah. Totally.
I mean, you know, he should. I guess
the same can be said for Snoke too. With the you know, it's amazing. That's the cool part.
I still care about more like of what Snoke's story is because like. I'm just saying like that whole thing about like and if this is how you feel about things, that's fine. About like, I know this person. We talked about this earlier. I know that person dies, so I'm not interested. It's like, well, you might have had like a great grandpa die or something, but aren't you still interested when you're like you hear like your grandpa got like in a bar fight with Christopher Lee or something? Like, wouldn't you be interested to hear the stories still? Like, come on, you're not like, nah, my grandpa's dead. I don't want to hear about it. Who cares?
Yeah, or your great grandpa could have been a Nazi, and that could have
it's like, whoa, plot twist. One of the cases.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So this is kind of funny. Like, I don't know if this. No, you're fine. I don't know if this has any credence anymore. But remember when Rebels, right after, I guess I don't know if it was after Last Jedi came out or what, but when Darth Maul first did the mind thing in Rebels,
yes,
I was like, yo, I was like, what if he started the Knights of Ren? Like, I remember like getting like so behind that theory. But like they, if you read the comics, they kind of like poo-pooed on that theory.
Which is, that's the point,
But I think you guys are onto something. I think there is still some story left. Dave knows where Maul is in this time.
Oh, totally.
And Solo's what, 10 years before? Or 9 years before?
I think 9 years, right?
So you have a little bit of gap. So clearly something.
I'm trying to think. It's like 10 or 12 years. It starts out like a couple years before. Like, it's like a big span of time.
Right. There's a time jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, Solo's one of the weirdest ones when it comes to time.
It is. They really just didn't care with it, which is great.
No. Yeah.
Like, we're just going to tell you a story.
They
deal with it, nerds.
Yeah. That's a Kasdan for you, though.
It's like, how long was Luke on Dagobah? And blah, all that stuff.
Time doesn't matter.
Too. No. To your point, Revenge of the Sith is one of those you watch. You're like, this has to take place over so many months because Padme's pregnant at the beginning. It's showing. Then by the end of it, she's really pregnant. But then when you watch this arc, you're like, oh my god, maybe it did take place over like 3 days. It's weird because
didn't Filoni talk about it? Didn't he say it's like essentially, or like Matt? I feel like I've seen someone recently say like Revenge of the Sith basically takes place over like a week or something.
Oh, okay.
I think, but
that would make sense technically.
You know what Clone Wars did for me? Like, I just want to see like everything that happens like in the cutaways.
Yes,
I'm just like, there's so much material that you can tell. I think that's a way that they could keep, as in the prequel era.
Of course.
Or honestly, what I really want is the pre-prequel era. Like, give me Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And then give me the lost years of Obi-Wan and Anakin. Those 10 years.
Oh,
I don't know. I hope one.
Never know.
But
there's more of a chance now, man.
But Clone Wars, a lot of people are like, we want new. But Clone Wars proved that even like people who don't like the prequels can enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
That's a thing.
That's what, and this kind of goes on a different direction, but when you watch, if anyone hasn't seen it yet, the second episode of The Gallery and the Mandalorian thing.
Oh, man.
That second episode was nothing but prequel love. And
it's great.
John was even like, I grew up with this originals. And they got people that are now growing up with these movies. And like, people are noticing and talking about different things from these movies. And it's so weird. Dave is the one, and IGN put an article, is like, why Clone Wars makes the prequels watchable. And I'm like, it doesn't do that. It expands on what George was trying to convey, okay?
They got their clicks,
George did a great job. Yes, yeah, it did. It did totally get their clicks. But like when you watch, all of Clone Wars, there's a lot more satisfaction to what happens with Order 66. Why it's important. I don't know. It's huge, and
it's like, there's been a lot of Phantom Menace love recently. I think because of the Mandalorian gallery episode, right? Like, I've just seen a lot of like not fandom menace. Excuse me, I didn't mean to mention them on this. There's been a lot of Phantom Menace love this last weekend. I feel like our boy Adat Chat, on YouTube, was talking about how he didn't know there were so many miniatures used and stuff, like on there. And like for some reason people are showing all the love, and I'm like, like Phantom Menace, but all of these movies, the prequels are no different than the sequels and the originals, right? Like every Star Wars movie, even Solo and Rogue One, every one of these films if you're willing to dig in and look past the stuff that you might like you go at, there is so much to dissect in there. There's so much to bring up and bring out. And like, that's just the beauty of what George made. It's not just a Disney era thing. It's like this is what George started, you know? He started like, look at all these things we can bring up and talk about. Like, these are dense films. You may not like them. Like, they may not be your cup of tea. You may not like the dialogue, but I mean, just, I don't know, get into them and look for the themes, man. You got to look for the themes over all that other stuff. But that doesn't really matter if you don't want to let Star Wars consume your soul. You know, if you just want to kind of watch a good movie, you know, then you should still watch these. But yeah, anyway, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you brought up all the other movies just now because I guess the root of this topic for a minute was the parallels between each new film too. For 1 second, no, TLJ obviously it's super noticeable. But Jerry, did you notice anything from the Rise of Skywalker in particular? Because I mean, there's some things I thought was cool, but what about you? Because I think you have a particular thing you wanted to bring up, right?
I had one thing, but I also oh gosh. I feel like there was a couple things, but the one that really sticks out in my head, and probably everyone thinks this, is the whole Maul escaping in the final episode in Victory and Death in the shuttle, and she's trying to hold it there.
Oh,
you know, just like that whole like sick. Her holding it. I'm like, we've seen that a couple of times, like in Rebels, like the second season, the second sister and the fifth brother, whichever the two, whenever Sarah Jessica Parker and the other shark dude come in there, and like they are both trying to hold the shuttle from leaving, the Phantom from leaving, and it takes both of them, and the guy gets distracted, and so they are able to get away. Here you've got a character like in Rise of Skywalker, you've got like Ben and Rey, Kylo and Rey, like both fighting over that one thing, but Rey like starts out holding that thing there. She don't need Kylo, you know, and like Ahsoka is just like, I'm gonna no, you can't, you better not go nowhere, Maul. Don't you go nowhere. And just that whole, I don't know, that really spoke to me with like, it really mirrored that Rey sequence with it, like in the desert and stuff, which. Whatever you think of it, whatever. But also remember, there was a little bit of music. Shout out to Kevin Kiner at during the Siege of Mandalore, where they're actually getting there, where it was Ahsoka's theme, but then it did a little tiny bit of Rey's theme.
No, I didn't notice.
It was like right when she lands on the platform, the very first episode. It was like they did the.
It's a little bit. It's like ba na 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 na.
Yeah,
but it goes.
They did like the last 2 notes.
Maybe like goes back into whatever.
It's good.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's killer.
Yeah, he killed it. This
but it
season.
Definitely has the na 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 na.
Yeah,
it was there.
It was there.
You know, while you were going on your comparisons, like something just hit me, and I like looked at.
I saw that.
What's that?
Isn't it really funny in Star Wars? Like, there's certain characters that like change like immensely, and then so do their names. Mm-hmm. Obi-Wan, Darth Maul, Rey, who was the other one that I just thought of? Oh, good grief!
Ben is a good one.
Ben,
yeah, Ben's a good
one. I
was
like, isn't it funny how we like are now saying Ben instead of Kylo?
Yeah,
like,
completely changed.
Like,
no more Darth Maul. I haven't said Darth Maul.
People don't say Darth
Maul.
Especially if they don't.
Maul.
If they watch the Clone Wars, you don't say Darth Maul.
You say Maul.
Right.
And you know
that red horned guy.
Yeah.
That's how my mom would say it.
It's really cool because I don't know, like this might be a stretch, but probably not. But like it's the whole, we were talking about it off camera earlier, the Saul to Paul.
Yeah. Biblical.
Yeah.
Like a biblical reference, like these characters who change and their names change.
Anakin Vader. Well, Anakin Vader. Every bit.
The whole Vader.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's like the biggest one. And I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah, but with them, it's almost Anakin and Vader. I think has been the best,
the most obtainable, obviously,
the best interpretation of two separate entities.
Yes,
in this one thing, like. I tend not to call Obi-Wan Ben. Like by the time I get to the original trilogy.
Nah, you don't call him
Obi-Wan.
Ben Kenobi.
Even everyone says Ben Kenobi.
Yeah.
But it's it's cool. There's again, Jerry, you could probably say it better than me in the voice, but it rhymes.
Yeah, it does.
So
it's poetry. It rhymes.
yeah.
Real, fake, paper mache.
Are you referencing the highlighter thing?
Sticks.
Is that what you're referencing?
I don't know. What are you highlighting, Jerry? Real, fake.
But he's got the highlighter and he's like coloring everything that's going to be CG, and you're just like
real.
And the camera turns and looks at the guys, and they're just like,
Let's just use Q-tips for this one.
yeah.
Fake.
So anyway, not
Maybe
to
those really
interrupt
big ones
your
they used to test for COVID-19.
Stay Bombad.
This is Bombad, man. This is Bombad.
But yeah, no, it's really cool to see that kind of stuff, and especially when it just hits you. I'm sitting here listening to you talk about.
That's the best part.
This
realizations are gonna happen for a long time. That was the cool thing about this arc. Like there was a bunch of things that are gonna be like, oh damn, I didn't think of that until way later, you know? And that's what Star Wars really is to its core. It's one of those things where you can sit there and think about it almost biblically and be like...
Another one just hit me.
What?
We just watched this and Maul's like, let me die. Like, he's already fallen down before. Like, he's used to this. Like,
yes.
He's just like, let me die.
Well, he's like... well, dude, the dude survived on his hate alone, right? Like, without... Like, you gotta imagine,
and he's
like...
scared
he
to
didn't
die
have no
now.
back to Band-Aid. He, was cut in half and lived on a trash planet. Can you imagine the dysentery that dude has? I mean, like...
Stupid.
Dude,
it's ridiculous, right? How does he poop? Like, does it just fall out of his lower intestine or whatever? You know, like...
Goes to the back tube.
Yeah,
so he's just like, don't make that happen to me again. Just kill me. Just kill me. Like,
that was weird, though. It's like his fate... His inevitable fate, the fate that we thought he originally died, this fate now is worse than dying. Like, he would rather be dead than see this change happen because he knows how much it'll change everything. You have no idea what you're doing. That's the best line.
Yeah, you have no idea what you're doing. And when
we're all going to burn.
We're all going to burn. You have no idea
what you're doing. Which Anakin does inevitably end up burning, which is pretty cool.
Snap, man.
Twice, huh?
Yeah, twice. You're right.
Because his body at the end.
Yes.
Dude,
well, wait. You bring up a good point. Because there's so many things you can keep paralleling, and I wanted to bring up one thing. Rogue One had a ton of tributes to it. I'm one with the Force is with me. How wild is that? Because it's Ahsoka saying it to Rex.
Like Rex starts saying
that.
It.
What?
I was. Because that was all in the Shattered episode, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That episode absolutely wrecked me. Absolutely. Okay, can we talk about the parts that like?
Well, there's one more thing I wanted to bring up.
That I have to go to therapy for now.
No. One more, because that'll definitely get brought up. But there's like, one part of parallel that no one's mentioned yet, and you brought it up earlier. Before we talked, I think, right? How Sam Witwer or Maul has his own Forced Unleashed moment where he pulls everything on a hyperdrive.
I don't know how no one has made that, like, and I think I put it in like our network like chat before.
Yeah.
Like, he went full Star Killer, and like no one's like how did you guys not notice that? Like, that is it's Sam Witwer doing the voice.
Yes.
It's obvious. To me, it was just like, here's kind of like an homage to that big bombastic, we're going to use the Force in big, crazy ways, you know?
That was it.
Yeah.
Because it can still happen and still work.
Yeah.
It's just, you don't want it to be a video game where it's like, oh, I'm out of Force juice. Gotta wait until my bar levels back up.
Dude,
you know?
he also gets his Vader moment in the hall when he's wrecking shop, and he doesn't even have his saber.
No.
So me and my friends have been debating on who's more brutal, and I think there's a really good argument to be made that Maul is like ripping people to shreds with just the Force.
Yes.
With just the Force, not with a lightsaber.
Dude,
that's a good point.
He is 100% more brutal. Like, he's what is he? They call him a blunt tool or something. He's like an instrument of death or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, that's the way Maul is a blunt instrument. He's made to be a weapon, And so,
well, that
dang,
one point,
did he prove it, man?
Well, when he
chopped the dude in
in
half, like impaled the guy in the wall with the wall.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, there's that one part where he walks in and he throws one dude off the edge, uses someone else's blaster to kill the other guy across from him. I was like,
oh, yeah, like he throws it and like shoots two guys.
Yes.
That is epic.
I was like, what just happened?
Dude, and he had a Snoke moment, too, when he's on the thing we just watched.
What do you mean?
He got to be Snoke, too.
Oh, the throne.
When he's sitting on the throne, he's like, just like, whipping the bullets.
That was so cool. Where he's just like whatever. I don't want these.
I think the thesis of what we're saying is Darth Maul is one of the coolest villains in Star Wars.
Totally.
And they did it.
He's awesome.
It.
They actually gave him way more credence in these 4 episodes alone.
They did it 21 years after his original death.
So good.
So I don't know. It's so cool. And then we get to the point where he dies, and you're like, wow, I feel bad.
Yeah,
like he gets his redemption, whatever. Yeah. He gets another Vader moment or Anakin moment at the end.
It's if you're talking about his death, like his actual death,
Rebel's death.
It's almost like he finally gets the piece. Someone finally, like Obi-Wan's finally like, this isn't me getting revenge on you. This is me having mercy on you because you have
suffered.
It's like you are suffering. I'm gonna put you out of your misery. You poor creature. I'm like getting like teary-eyed almost thinking about it because it is crazy. Is it crazy they made us like feel things for the cool? I mean, we're all like,
the devil
we
man.
have always felt like, ooh, he's got cool tattoos and horns and a double-bladed lightsaber. But like, we're feeling things for Maul where he's like that part where he's saying, "Let me die. We're all going to burn" and stuff, and then finally. Obi-Wan in the desert, he's trying to get at him. He's like, this is what will fulfill me, what will make me happy. And Obi-Wan's just like, I'm beyond it, man. Like, I'm beyond it, but I'm going to do this for you because I think it's what you want. That's what he wanted, was just to die. So sad.
Well, there's one thing. Troy
he
and
had
I
no
talked about
choice.
this. Well, this is one thing I want to bring up about Maul because it dawned on me after Troy said it out loud, and it never hit me. This is going to hit you a little bit different, too. When Ezra and Maul are trying to get in contact with the holocron, they're trying to talk about it, that what they're both seeking, is on the planet with 2 suns. Remember, that was the line. It was like, on the two sun planet, what you were seeking is there. And the fact that what was different, what Maul was seeking was obviously Obi-Wan, but what was really the end goal was Luke. Luke was the way that they would end all the Sith. The one that everyone was seeking was Luke, and it never hit me till then. It was like the planet of the twin suns does not only hold Obi-Wan, but it also holds the importance of Luke and what Luke means to end the Sith Order and how he will kind of end it all, essentially, from what we know. And God, ooh, you just got me going with the whole Maul thing. I never thought I would love Maul. And Sam Witwer, as much stuff as he's getting right now, which he doesn't deserve, by the way, it's his opinion, he can have it. We get this amazing character out of this. Like, Dave did it, and that was one thing. Talking Bay did an episode with Sam Witwer, and it was like, how are we going to bring Maul back? It's pretty much the big mantra of it. And Dave was like, it's going to ruin my career if I don't do it successfully, And he does it, and now we're like, this has become more of an episode on Maul than anything, just because of the importance of it. Have
you ever known anyone? I've known several people over my life who don't like that Maul is back, that they brought Maul back. They're like, it seems cheap, or whatever, like, now no one can die and stuff. But I mean, that's just kind of a trope in Star Wars now, but the execution is everything. Mm-hmm. But I want to talk to some of those people now, like to talk to someone who had the idea. If you're out there listening right now, watching whatever, and you have never really been a fan of them bringing Maul back, what do you think of him now? Yeah. Like him, this arc, it isn't even complete yet, but we have these big pieces of this dude's life that he was there during Revenge of the Sith and knew what was going on. It adds a cool wrinkle to this. And the more cool wrinkles, the more details that they add to the story, that's what's going on in the background, it it's just more richness, man. It's a lot more richness to the story. It's just flavor. It's just flavor.
It's great flavor.
It's more than flavor. It's really deep. It's awesome.
It's crazy.
I mean, I almost just cried for this man in red and black makeup. So.
That's the thing, you know. I feel that each episode has had its individual moments, but the third episode, what was it called, Jerry? The third one in the arc,
Shattered, which is what I was.
Let's talk about it now, because that Order 66 moment was just dandy. Everything about it was just like, I mean, the music before felt a lot like Padme's Ruminations at the name of the song, whatever. It felt a lot like that, where they got Maul inside that capsule and they're bringing him in.
It felt very Blade Runner to me.
Oh, yeah.
Also, like, it felt very like Philip K. Dick came back from the grave. Was like, I know I didn't write the music for Blade Runner, but let's. This is what the aliens told me that you should write this. Sorry.
But no, to your point, the music was extremely ominous. It was almost like the scenes in
it builds the tension, man. It builds so much, because I'm like, this Monolith. Is dark.
Yes.
It doesn't feel good, even though I'm like, there's Ursa Wren with her helmet off. She looks like young Sabine. She looks like Sabine.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh.
Well, when Maul, the whole thing is great because, you know, Rex and Ahsoka have that moment. They're like, you know, I'm so glad we're doing this, that kind of thing. And then it gets to the point where, like, I love it. They've shown Maul, people guarding Maul's door, and all of a sudden you get this moment where Maul literally goes and opens his eyes, and it all gets triggered.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I noticed that he was like actually just like calm and meditating.
Yeah,
like during that bit,
kind of like Qui-Gon does before. Oh, what hot take,
dude!
And he's just sitting there waiting.
Anakin's true dad.
Yeah. By the way, some deep stuff there.
This is why I would say that you, having watched through the Clone Wars and getting Ahsoka and Rex's relationship, would really benefit you in this episode.
Right, exactly.
100%. Like, you can still come in and watch it and get like, okay, I get what's going on here. Mm-hmm. But the gravity of it, like, was a ton of bricks in my lap, man. Mm-hmm. Whenever, like, talking about all the crazy stuff, like Rex, they're talking about, man, it's the end of the war.
Yeah,
this could be over. And Rex has that line, that with Ahsoka, like that kind of speech of, you know, the clones are. I think it was in the trailer too, a little bit. Right?
It was in the trailer.
Kind of. We have mixed feelings about the war because, you know, without it, we never would have existed.
God bless.
And is it like, seriously, like, that was like, dude, this brings up so much, like, about the sanctity of life.
Yeah.
And the gravity of, you created life. Mm-hmm. It's here. You created it for this conflict. Yep. And now it's like, these are living, breathing people.
Is there a point
so I think Star Wars has done clones the best that anyone ever has.
Oh, yeah.
Usually people are like, oh, I think I'm the real person, but I'm actually the clone.
Yeah.
Or, like, it's an exact copy, where these are like, no, it's the DNA, people. But these are like their own people.
Yeah.
And
well, that's the point of Clone Wars. And, like, Dave literally just, like, completely, like, you know, wrote his last name at the end of the last page and was done with it, because that was the point, right? It was to make sure the clones had their own identity, and he gave it to them. And then of course we have the moment where of course Order 66 happens, and you hear Ahsoka having that moment where she knows what's going on. She's like, what is how I feel, something feels so bad. And Yoda, remember, Yoda holds against the wall and has that same exact moment too. Mm-hmm. He feels Anakin's turn. Ahsoka feels Anakin's turn because they were the closest to him.
How? Well, I was gonna say, like, how I was realizing that as I was watching that supercut.
Yeah, the supercuts would make me realize that too.
Ahsoka and Yoda are the only two that have that what's going on with Anakin.
Yep.
Even Obi-Wan
doesn't.
It hit me this time how much I'm like, that's like Anakin's best friend, kind of father, kind of big brother, weird relationship.
Yeah. Right.
Doesn't have like a something's wrong with Anakin moment. Yep. You know, it's like, I think it speaks to I don't. What do you get from that? Because to me, I kind of see. I think I see, to me, as in A New Hope, an Obi-Wan who is regretting that he wasn't closer. I think that's why he talks about it the way he does.
Damn, that's heavy, Jerry.
If I had actually been what he needed me to be, he wouldn't have turned. I'm just coming to this now.
Yeah, well, dude, you brought this up earlier when we were watching it. This is such a good episode. No, you brought this up earlier. The fact that Obi-Wan straight up, actually, you can say it because you made that point earlier.
Yeah,
it's so good.
This Obi-Wan's one of my favorite characters. So I tend to listen to things he says.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Obi's the best.
But in this episode that we watched, the which one was it? The Phantom
Apprentice, yeah.
When he's on the hologram and he's talking to Bo-Katan, Rex, and Ahsoka, and he asks to speak to her alone, and he's telling her about what's going on with Anakin. She's, I don't know what the lineup is, but he says the council isn't always right. And this is the first time that he point blank says it.
Yeah.
In Revenge of the Sith, they kind of hint at it.
Oh, it's alluded.
When Anakin says, "Why are you asking me of this?" Mm-hmm. And then Obi-Wan says,
"Not.
The council is asking this of you." Yeah, the council is asking you.
I love because if he was trying to get to him.
Yep.
He was. I don't think he knew how to do it.
Nope.
So that was Obi-Wan in Clone Wars. That was Obi-Wan becoming Qui-Gon. In that one sentence.
Oh, you're right.
In that one sentence, he straight up is just yeah, the council isn't always right. And so it's almost
Eric, that's awesome.
Yeah. So at that point, they have already done the goodbye friend thing,
mm-hmm.
and I think Obi-Wan is on a path to go. I think I know how to get to this guy.
Yep.
I think I know how this is going to happen.
Well, then so much happens later. You got to think Obi-Wan probably after Grievous's death would have made that the point. Order 66 cuts that apart. Then him seeing that Anakin was killing, Jedi cut that apart. The fact that Anakin is then the father of Padme's kids cut. By the time Anakin gets to by the time Obi-Wan gets to Mustafar, he's this is not the same dude that
he's shocked. He's completely shocked. So he wasn't expecting it at all.
Oh, nah. Totally side.
But I think what you're saying, which originated this whole shindig, is I think he's in general mode. So and maybe, maybe there's an argument to be made that his mind is clouded straight up by Palpatine. He's this is the guy who's going to mess my plan up.
Yep.
So they've never said it.
Nah.
But why wouldn't he have the power to block Obi-Wan's mind? Obi-Wan is a master,
he's doing it to
right?
all of them,
yeah, he's a master.
Obi-Wan's a master, but he's also a general.
Yep.
And they were blocking all the masters, man. All the masters. None of them knew what was like Mace kind of thought of it, but it's the same thing. It's why don't you? What was it last week? A couple weeks ago, Scotty, we were walk out the Jedi Temple front door. Yeah. Go 5 blocks that way and talk to him.
Yeah,
just confront him.
Yeah,
but dude, Obi-Wan. To me, Obi-Wan is human. That's what I've always thought. I've always thought Obi-Wan is human. Everyone's why did Obi-Wan leave him there to die? Obi-Wan is so, he's such a great Jedi, right? But yet he is still so
a lot to learn.
Mired in he's so imperfect.
Yeah,
and he he has so much guilt. I think he has so much guilt. That it keeps it for he leaves Anakin to burn because I think he's scared. I think he's I can't do it. Mm-hmm. I can't do it. I have to go. I think he regrets that,
Yep.
Every day.
Yeah,
I think that's something that he thinks about. I can't believe I just left him there, And but just the whole scene that you're talking about with Obi-Wan telling Ahsoka, could you say something to him? Just say something to him.
Well, then Yoda does the same thing later. Yoda's it was have something to say to Master Skywalker you want? Or whatever the exact line is.
They made him look so cute, too.
Dude, that hurt!
During that little bit, he's just standing there. He's something to say to Skywalker you have?
Yeah.
He's just looking
I love
at her.
Because that was right after, Mace had been this is for Jedi.
He stays.
Whatever.
Yeah, he stays.
I was
stays.
So that's Dave dropping a little bit of dust on these are the 2 Jedi that are actually figuring it out.
Yeah. Made me tear up for real because of the moment. And like you see the longing in Yoda's eyes, knowing that he damn well did not want Ahsoka to leave the Order, because that's what would have made him Anakin stay. Obviously, I mean it's 100% true. Mm-hmm. If Ahsoka
talk about Jedi with regret, man.
Oh, total regret. And like. No, to go, Jerry. What?
Go ahead. What were you saying, man?
Well, I was gonna say, just you're watching that moment with Yoda and Ahsoka, and you can't help but to realize, like, yeah, they're onto it, but you're also thinking like that dude has seen so much history. You know, he knows what's about to happen. He could probably we'll find out too with the High Republic how much he is aware of things happening around him. You know, like it's brutal. It's so hard to watch because if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure right after it's whenever. Or soon to be after it's whenever Yoda has to cut off the head of the clones, which I want to get into as well with Order 66, because that's super interesting with how differently each Jedi treats the clones after Order 66. It's especially Ahsoka. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be interesting.
You remember like a couple years ago there was like all that no, this wasn't a couple years ago. Sorry, this was like last year where like everyone was kind of Yoda's kind of a dick or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You remember all that?
Yeah.
They're like, ugh, Yoda isn't that great. They gave Yoda a moment it's that moment. It's where he says something else you have to say, you know? Yeah. He's like, I'm not gonna
shut you down.
I'm not giving up on you.
No.
I'm not mad. We messed up.
Mm-hmm.
We messed up and I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And they gave him the moment and down to can we talk about how special and sweet and like tear-inducing it was that he was like, may the Force be with you, Padawan.
Yeah. To her. That was amazing.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I was
it just means like you're still a part of it. You don't know it, but you're still involved.
He's like, I still consider you. He's like, we messed up. It was us.
Yeah.
It was almost like I'm still here. I still believe in you. And I'm getting emotional thinking about it. It was great. It was great.
That's the thing. Like,
but not as emotional as Rex. I don't know what you want to get into, Scotty, but
that's the next part.
Can we talk about Rex?
No, that's the next part because
Rex fighting his programming.
Oh, that was good. And like you hear Anakin's turn, and of course in the Siege of the Sith, that moment which we've talked about was so well done. And Ahsoka's steady looking off the bow, and she feels it. And then right after, something's wrong, Rex. Something's wrong. And then Rex turns around, just getting and I love they use the original audio clip. Execute Order 66. And then Rex turns around and Jerry, I think you were the most emotionally impacted by that. I cried, but it seems like you were like really moved. Why is that? Why was that moment big for you?
Well, like first of all, the clones around like point their blasters at us first, and he goes, "No!" Like he's still facing the holo table, right?
Yep.
And he goes, "No,
I'll do it.
I'll do it."
Uh-huh.
It's almost like Old Yeller or something. Like, I'll take the dog out back. It's my dog. I'll do it. But not. I mean, to a greater degree.
Of course.
It's just like this whole. Is it? I don't know if it's like a father-daughter dynamic between
sister.
him and Ahsoka. Do you think it's more paternal or do you think it's more?
I think it's camaraderie.
I mean, I know it's a best friend.
Yeah,
it's a best friend.
It's definitely a best friend thing.
But it just that he's like, I'll do it.
Especially after
in tears.
He becomes best friend. I don't like Commander anyway.
He's in tears from the moment he turns around.
Yeah.
And his guns are shaking. He is fighting a chip created by the Lord of the Sith, Darth Sidious, Palpatine, Master Manipulator, cannot fight the power of friendship and love. It's cheesy, but it is 100% as powerful, and he does not understand a lick of it.
Nope.
And don't tell me you didn't lose it when he starts going. His brain is trying. His subconscious is trying to warn her and give her a clue. Like, find him. Fives. Find him. Find fives. Find fives.
And then boom, 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 boom.
And it's like he can't do it.
Nah, it's good.
I seriously was like ugly crying in my you guys have heard me on here talk about when Han Solo died and I was like getting a cold and delirious in the middle of my first
when you saw The Force Awakens.
How I ugly cried and like my wife really questioned why she was with me in that moment. But like,
But same thing.
I almost knew it was like 5 a.m. or something, and I was like, he's fighting it, like not quite like that. But you know what
music
I mean? Like,
though,
it was just like
the music's what got me there, Jerry. It was the.
That's why I'm so glad that they kept like the Blade Runner score up until that point.
Yeah.
Because it's such an emotional punch.
Yep.
As soon as you hear ba 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 ba, I mean it's like,
yeah, it's sick.
It's so sick.
who knew? That is like, that's not even like I think a whole that's just like background music of Revenge of the Sith, right? That's just like the score. That's just like the soundtrack of Anakin's fall, right? It's like here's the fall of the Jedi, ba 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 ba, and it always accompanies like when Anakin's looking off of the deck on Mustafar, like crying because of all the horrible stuff that he's done, the horrifying stuff he's committed. He knows it's bad. He knows. He thinks that he's going to be able to save Padme because he did it. And he's sitting there like, I hate myself. He basically, that's the music.
Yeah.
That is the music. I hope you're all crying right now.
Well, the thing is,
So
you watch that moment, music's playing, and she just knocks. She's even the best part I think I like about Ahsoka in this moment is these clones turn to droids. Okay, obviously, instantaneously turn into droids. That's all they're programmed to do. And Rex even like go find her and go kill her. You know, that's the order. Like you have to go do that. And when Rex hits his head too is an awesome moment because at no point she's just deflecting the shots. She's not hurting a single one of them. Then she throws up into the vent, and then I believe she sneaks around and finds those droids. And how cool, how Dave Filoni, George Lucas is this. The clones have now become droids, but the droids are now going to become companions. They're even like, what is going on? That's the best part. They're even like, we don't know. And Ahsoka's like, I don't know. Like, we have no idea what's going on. Oh, I'm getting chills talking about that moment. Because Maul
shout out to the droid
out.
who was very Chopper-esque too. Cheap or whatever.
I was convinced that was Chopper. I was
boy.
freaking out.
I was like, cheap? I was like, it's kind of like Chopper.
Yeah.
I wonder if Dave's got like a CH thing. You know how like Warwick has like the W's?
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Right.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, that's what I
like
thought.
The C-110P. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess he. I guess since he played Chopper. He's like, well, let's do one that's got a CH. Or whatever. Cheap.
Well,
so good. But that's the thing.
It was great. I love them adding more droids like Chopper though. You know, like. Because, and I mean, canon. Actually, Chopper was in a Y-Wing that crashed on...
Oh, I didn't know
that. I can't think of the name of the planet now. Crashed in Cham Syndulla's front yard.
Oh, okay.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. You remember that from Rebels?
I don't, to be honest with you.
No, I don't remember that either.
It's when they went to Hera's house where Thrawn's based, you know?
Oh, okay, I do remember that,
and they see the crashed Y-Wing.
Yes.
And Chopper's like out there like staring at it like a Vietnam vet.
I do remember that now. Yeah. We could watch it.
Yeah, he came from that thing, and like she took him and repaired him, and so that was her droid companion from there.
Oh, that makes sense.
Which one of those?
But dude, droids? I want more of those kind of droids.
Which one of the new ones died in the 3? Like Cheap and the other 2. One of them died, right? Or they all got killed.
They all got killed, but Rex had one of them near the Y-Wing at the very end, which I thought was interesting.
It was Ahsoka's Ahsoka's R2. I forget its name. Oh my goodness. Talking about
no, it's okay.
Whatever Ahsoka's R2 unit droid was.
The Rex had an R2 unit at the very end, if y'all noticed that, next to the Y-Wing. It's pretty cool. I don't know the significance of that.
Oh, in the Y-Wing?
No, literally next to the Y-Wing at the very end. If you watch
right.
Rex had like just put the shovel back in the thing, and you see an R2 unit right there. I don't know if that is symbolic of anything. It might be cool for a comic or a book. But one thing I wanted to say is that you have this moment where everything turns. You know, you have the moment where you have Ahsoka having to deal with this, and like she has to. How does she get Rex again? How did they get Rex back in that room? I don't remember now. Didn't they zap Rex? They zapped
basically
Rex.
the droids trapped him in the blast doors.
Yes, and then they zapped him. Yep.
Shout out to the Beyond the Blast Doors network.
I was going to say, he was beyond the blast door.
There we go. Hey, looking out. No, but
network.
the fact that Maul is wrecking house still during all of that.
Oh yeah,
amazing.
Oh yeah,
amazing. And then, of course, you get the part where she figures out the whole moment and Anakin's code. What was it?
It's the release date of the movie.
Yeah.
8/01/08 or something.
Yeah. Oh,
I was like, when I was watching that, I was like, that means something.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know.
I hadn't noticed that yet. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's the release
the
date of
Clone Wars movie.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. 8/1/08, I think, something like that.
Yeah, it's
great. But
now everyone's like, oh, that's an important date now. Was like all you posers. I was I get it.
Well, like, I don't know. Then of course I love it gives so much credence to the Fives arc now, that it really does. Like, you see the old ship and then it kind of has a mystery moment, has a mystery box for a second for anyone that hasn't seen it. Ahsoka's like, what is happening? Right. And then she learns, and then we have the moment, the probably one of the best moments is they're right where the episode ends, essentially, when they got Rex on the table and the droid's working on him, and then the other droid's trying to hold it back, and then it ends. Then we start that next final episode up right where it leaves off. And that, what's funny? This is going to sound weird. That last episode was amazing. Don't get me wrong. But it was almost the one that I was like, they have to get out of it somehow.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to it. I know they had to get out of it. But it was the one that I wasn't like hanging on the edge of my seat until the epilogue. To the epilogue.
I mean, that was just like worth it.
Oh my God. But
that was almost like a horror movie too, because they're opening the door.
Yeah.
And like she's trying to push them out and deflect the blast. And it doesn't close until Rex, you just see his blasters come up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then just like, it's so quick. Like you see the blasters come up and they get blasted.
Yeah.
The guy's out of the door closes. She turns around and he's like sitting up. You don't even really see him do it.
No.
And there were so many moments in this arc where you don't see the action happen, but you see it. You see like the consequences of it, and then like you see like the character, like the whole smoking gun thing or whatever, like they used to do back in the, I don't know, like noir movies or whatever,
50s,
something,
60s,
Yeah.
You hear the gunshots, and then it turns around, and like someone else has the gun.
Well,
Like,
that happened to Mando whenever Mando shoots IG 11. It you just all you see is the blast, and you see the smoke from the IG helmet.
I think it's so great that Rex had to kill clones. Like that is something.
It's brutal.
It's something I wanted to see in the show.
Yeah.
I was like, this has to happen.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly how his attitude is towards the whole thing in Rebels. Is he a little jaded when they first meet him in Rebels?
Yeah, they do. He's like, it's a Jedi, and I think Wolf, whoever it was with him, was
Wolf was it's a Jedi. Where he's the calm down.
Yeah,
dude, calm down.
Rex is the one that's calmed down, so he's not really jaded. But it's funny. Kane is mad at them for being clones. It was great. That was like, I watched that moment recently, actually. But no, to your point,
I feel a canon watch through coming on, man.
Oh, totally.
Full canon watch through.
It's great because you do have to see Rex have that moment. And one thing that hit me heavy, hit me so hard when watching it, was the fact that Ahsoka had to shoot someone or attack someone with her own face painted on it.
Right.
This whole show has been about how Ahsoka's like so camaraderie with these people, and the fact that she's gonna have to accept it and have to stop. She's cutting blasters in half and stuff, trying not to make this happen. And you got Maul over here just killing each one of them because Maul is all about the end game. Maul does not care about the process.
Yeah.
And you have those moments where Ahsoka's trying her best not to hurt them, and she has to. She has to deflect blasters at one point, and she hits them. And you're like, dang, And of course, the ending is where it's like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
But Jerry, say the big line that Ahsoka says. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
I know these soldiers are ready to die.
Oh man, you've caught me.
Okay, that's okay, Scott. You finish it.
Well, now I don't know it because I thought Jerry would.
Okay, I'll finish it.
Finish it. You finish it.
It's like
finish it.
It's like, I know these soldiers are ready to die, but I'm not going to be the one to kill them.
Oh, you're
yes.
right. Ooh, E.
Yeah.
That's brutal. God, that's good. You're right.
That was the moment in which all of us were like, holy crap, is Ahsoka Tano the most Jedi to ever Jedi? You know?
You're not wrong.
Like, seriously though, because it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not going, that is so Jedi.
Yeah,
even though
is.
she left the order. It's like, this is a person who doesn't agree fundamentally with the order that she used to be in, but she still stands for everything that they should be.
Sure.
Right?
Totally.
It's the whole knowledge and defense, never attack. Mm-hmm. And these are my people. They're not themselves. I got to do everything I can to not hurt any of them.
Well, shout out to Sam Witwer and his Twitch stream. Maybe y'all can get him on the show one day.
Yeah.
I was watching
anytime, Sam.
I was watching after his name was coming up in titles and headlines, and he said it perfectly. He said the thesis of this show and Ahsoka is that line.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why it's such a great finale. Her character doesn't change.
No, not at all.
Or, like where she is to the point where we meet her.
Yeah.
At this point.
Right.
She doesn't just like change in the middle of the very last story.
No.
And a lot of people are upset that she survived Order 66, but I think the show does a really good job of adding to the believability because she knows these the troops and their tactics.
Totally,
and stuff.
yes.
And I think part of the failure of the Jedi in this instance, and I think it was orchestrated by Palpatine, was that they were just going to treat them as expendable soldiers, and it's from the beginning of the Revenge of the Sith where Anakin's like, I'm going to go help him. Like, I don't know. It's just like a random clone. We know nothing about his name.
Nope.
And he's like, no, he's doing his job. You do yours.
Yeah.
And all this
very
stuff.
beginning of Revenge of the Sith.
And that line alone, you can't just be like, well, George wanted to make the clones likable. I'm like, well, no, that was always part of his plan.
Yeah.
That line alone. I mean, you only have so much time in a 2-hour movie. George is a genius for realizing that this needed to be a TV show.
Oh, totally.
Right.
The fact that you got 2 years worth of war, and that's the same thing with Phantom Menace and Darth Maul. People might be upset to hear this, but Darth Maul doesn't make sense in the story going forth with episodes 2 and 3.
Yes,
because you got to tell Anakin Skywalker's story in the movies, and that's the great thing about Clone Wars. You get to tell the clone story, Maul's story, and this new character that we didn't know at the time, Ahsoka.
Oh, of course, and that's the crazy part.
So that's like a great essay. You just finish strong, and that's that was their thesis statement with Ahsoka.
No, it is. It is.
This was going to be like a pure Jedi who got to learn under Obi-Wan, Anakin, Plo Koon, Yoda. You know what I mean?
Everyone.
So,
everyone, even her enemies, besides Ventress. You've got a bunch of Maul. That's amazing.
Yeah,
because she really is. I mean, wow, the most Jedi to Jedi was always Qui-Gon, and then it was Rey for a little while. I really do think it's Ahsoka now because she takes in everyone's advice, even Anakin's.
Mm-hmm. I think, man, I don't know.
That's a heavy one. I never thought about that.
I still really like Rey. It's almost a Luke Skywalker type of character,
Totally.
But
sorry.
Is Paul there?
No. A door magically opened. I had to go magically close it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man, hate those malfunctioning doors.
Yeah, it's always the blast doors. Sometimes they don't work right.
Still get your arm stuck in it. Am I right?
Yeah, totally.
It's a big pause moment.
Yeah,
but I think man, I haven't really thought about it. I think I would give it to Ahsoka almost right now, tonight, where I'm at. Man, Ahsoka is. I've been identifying with her so much through these last few episodes, right? It's really been. Gosh, it's been over the top. It's been so insane. She is the embodiment of what a Jedi should be. I mean,
right?
You can tell me if I'm wrong. But I don't know. Well, no, don't tell me if I'm wrong, because that'll hurt my feelings.
Dude, I think they're gonna do big things with Ahsoka. I think Dave's kind of been like shaping her up to be the Gandalf of the whole thing. You know, we've seen time and time again the imagery with her and Gandalf. Even like at the end of this show, she's got the hood up again. I remember just being like, whoa! I was like, whoa, are we in Rebels timeline here? But then I was just like, no, there's no way.
Yeah, she looked exactly like that.
Yeah.
Obviously by design. Like, you know, and maybe it's weird because we've never seen Vader in the Clone Wars animation, but I'm like, everything looks very Rebels-y here. But, you know, like, that's because we're in the timeline. Everything looked amazing. I mean, even arguably better than Rebels. Seeing the Stormtroopers.
Yeah. But wait, there was one parallel I want to bring in to the ending, like the very ending with the ship going down. How cool is it? It kind of parallels what happens at the very beginning of Revenge of the Sith. Instead of the Separatists, it's actually a clone ship going down instead to a barren planet.
Not a happy landing.
Not a happy landing because everyone dies.
That was a very somber landing.
Yeah, it was. And
complete with funeral.
Yes, pretty much. And you know, it's great to see Maul escape because that's Maul. That's a Sith. That's a bad guy. It's always been that way. And like,
what is the Greek figure? Mythical figure that he represents is
Maul,
the person who's doomed to roll the boulder up the hill for eternity.
I forget that person's name. I don't remember.
Is it Oedipus or no?
Maybe
Cicero?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I can tell you about the Bible.
Sam,
comment down below.
Sam Whitworth, come down off the mountain. Come up, down off Mount Olympus and tell us what's what here.
Mount 4K.
I think he's who really I heard say it first. You know, it's like Maul is doomed to roll up the. You know how his Sam Whitworth. I can't do Sam Whitworth because I handsome.
He's probably said it more than once because I've heard it in something.
Totally.
Yeah, and
he said it a few times, man.
Yeah, so that's the thing. He gets away, and then you see these two survive this crash.
Oh, it's brutal.
And
how they do it's pretty sick too. Because it's so crazy that the clones are so fixated on trying to kill Ahsoka that they don't even think about escaping. That's their programming, literally. And like the fact that one of the best parts was Rex trying to like convince him, well, she is not a Jedi. You don't have to kill her. And I'm like, oh,
I was like, oh, he's trying to go for the droid brain logic. Like,
and it worked. And he was
Coruscant, like, no, that doesn't compute. You're under arrest.
Would y'all? But I'm not a crier. But would either of y'all have cried if the clone said Roger, Roger after a thing?
Oh, that would have been heavy. That would have been
I don't know.
heavy.
Like,
honestly, no.
That was like,
I probably would have laughed.
Yeah, maybe. I would have been like, dang, that would have sold it for me.
I don't know if that's exactly like the route that they were going.
Sure.
Or just Roger that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Sorry, I'm an old man.
No.
That's okay. I probably would have laughed, honestly.
Yeah.
I would have been like, well, okay.
That's awesome. That's the thing, though. When they did turn, and obviously Rex was going against his logic, the best part was that, I mean, it was very George, too. The break in humor before the real, like, heavy... Because the rest of the episode's not funny. There's no humor in it at all.
Yeah.
It was that moment he goes, I don't like being called Commander anyway, or whatever it was.
Oh,
and,
that was... Yeah. That was so like 90s action movie too. Like,
it was.
I didn't
it
like
was
that
quippy.
anyway.
It was awesome. He was like, I don't like being called Commander anyway.
Like give that line to Bruce Willis or Sylvester Stallone or something like Steven Seagal. I didn't like being Commander anyway. You know, like
it's great. And then you get the crash, and then of course you get kind of the moment that really sells Ahsoka as a character. The fact that these people were trying their hardest to kill her, and what does she do?
She
buries him. Yep. Literally gives him a tribute, no matter what. Her and Rex. And Rex puts the shovel away. I didn't know this was a shovel till later, and I was like, oh my god.
I haven't watched.
Like
I need to watch that more closely.
You
think she would just like be able to use the force to like get rid of it?
Like Rey,
you know, she might have.
You like lay all the bodies out and stuff. And
just push down. Hey, efficiency. Like, I would. But I think y'all should talk about it.
Oh, what?
The big ending. The big bad.
See, this is kind of where this episode is going to end up wrapping up anyway, because naturally it was something I 1,000,000,000% did not expect. I would have thought it on that shot of Ahsoka, you know, with her with the graves, and there was that one shot where they go all the way to they get to Jesse's mask. I thought they were going to end on that.
I'm getting chills just thinking about the shots of the graves. Just the fact that Ahsoka, she is the most Jedi to ever Jedi. She gave the men who were trying to kill her respect.
A proper, respectful burial for the humans that they are, and the moment Jerry's done.
Move
look
on.
At this, y'all.
Move
look
on.
At Jerry. No,
don't close up.
Just don't pee your pants.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
No.
Don't pee your pants. Not like
Who do
Liam.
I look? I'm not that cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I just love to win back.
Peeing your pants is cool.
Sick.
I'm Liam
so
Neeson.
Sick.
So sick.
Amazing.
All right, serious.
No, serious point.
Sorry.
The very ending of that whole episode was so unpredictable, and it actually showed my favorite Star Wars ships. And it was the moment where they showed the Imperial shuttle go down. You're like, wait a second, what is happening?
They got all the
what do you mean Imperial ship?
the probe droids going around.
I'm just like, I remember just being like, yo, where are we in this? Like, you know, obviously it probably takes only like a year to get to that point.
I don't know, dude. That's the thing. They haven't said anything about that.
I thought it like was up to Rebels, but
I think it's
before Rebels, but
I don't know. I think it's like a year or two before. Like I think it's like a year at least. They have
after.
It talks about in the books how they have
He
like
does
the
it
uniforms and stuff ready to go and all that. But then they're still flying around. They're not flying TIE fighters for another couple of years or so. 5 years later, they're still flying like the thing that sounds like a TIE fighter in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
V-Wing? Yeah. It's a V-Wing.
Well, still, to the point of it, we get the Imperial probe droid. Then we get, of course, those two obvious Imperials, you know, and they're kind of
snowtroopers.
Yeah, snowtrooper. Oh, that was great. It was snowtroopers. And then you got the actual regular troopers, and they both look. And then look who walks right in front of the frame. The man himself.
Well, didn't one of those troopers? They had the pauldrons and like the tubes. Mm-hmm. They looked like straight up Battlefront 1.
They did.
Like when you're fighting on like
Sullust
and stuff, you know? Like that poster that came with
Yeah.
Oh man, I still have that poster. I haven't put it up but I love that they're throwing in all these trooper designs, man. Like have the snow troopers and all that. And I was like, show us what Vader looks like. Is it like I don't know, like
it was great. And you get that side shot of him.
The whole thing.
And he walks up and you know, obviously Ahsoka had dropped that lightsaber before. He walks up and he looks. And, like, just to think, like, that was such a big part of his life, and now he's just trying his hardest to fight against it. He goes in to pick it up, and he looks up, and it's Morai. How amazing was that? That's when I kind of lost my shit, because it was a Morai. It was the symbol of Rebels. You know, it was what he saw when he went to Mortis. It was just everything conglomerating, and you know, obviously Morai's in the world between worlds, and it's just good. It's just good. And he looks up, then he ignites it, and that image of Vader with the black silhouette and the blue lightsaber coming out the side.
Oh yeah,
probably one of the most iconic of all of Clone Wars,
absolutely,
and prequels.
I still can't believe that that's a part of Clone Wars right now. Like I'm still like that doesn't compute.
Not at all.
It just looked like one of the films, and it's just Darth Vader with a blue lightsaber, but he gave that to Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. That was a gift to her that he was proud and excited to give her.
Yep.
You got to think about, like, what was going on in his head at that point.
Oh, totally.
Also, do you guys think it was cool? That was straight up a New Hope Vader, too, looking.
Oh, yeah, with the red.
Like, he had, like, he didn't have the full, like, shoulder pads showing. He had, like, the black, like, fabric over, you know, and the red kind of looking lenses.
Oh.
Yeah, and you got to see his eyes again, like they do in Rebels.
You can almost see,
You could see him if you pause.
Could you really see the eyes?
Yeah, you can.
You could see the eyes clear as day, just like in Rebels. So I was like...
But it's the best part is it's silent. There's no words.
Yeah, no words.
That's the best part. No words. He doesn't go Ahsoka. He doesn't say anything. And, like, it's completely up to you to think how he felt. And I'm sure in his head, it was maybe one more ending chapter for him. You know, like, oh, Ahsoka's dead. I don't have to worry about her anymore. Obviously, this is where she died. I mean, maybe to his knowledge, you know. And
well, when do you think that takes place? Do you think it's before Rebels, like a couple years in?
It's gotta be.
Or do you think that's
Rebels.
like in the middle of Rebels when he's hunting her down and he's like, you know, I gotta find
now.
clues, and I don't know. I kind of like that better though. That like what you're saying, that it's earlier, because it's like, okay, because in Rebels he's like, the apprentice lives, right?
Yeah.
Like whenever like he feels her presence.
Yeah.
So
The Phantom Apprentice.
yeah, maybe that is that moment where he thinks she's dead.
Yeah.
Because she just dropped it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh.
It's heavy. And the fact that it ends
I like
on a
that better.
shot
Yeah.
of the Ahsoka clone painted face
Perfect ending.
with him walking out, because it just represents everything he had to deal with. Ahsoka, the Clone Wars. He's like, it's his final goodbye to all of it. And like, you know, Dave did that on purpose. I mean, obviously, of course it was intentional, but like, such a heavy ending to end on. That is where the Clone Wars was supposed to end. You know, he was supposed to be the one that got everyone out of it, but he's the one that got everyone in it, which is just incredible. I love that. Whew. Heavy stuff here on the Bombadcast.
Yeah.
Jerry, anything else before we close this episode out?
I think it could have used a couple more fart jokes. Just to ease the tension.
Always.
You know?
Always. God.
I think
I
there's
don't know.
hope here
Like,
for more stuff.
Yeah? For
Yeah.
more material?
Yeah, I don't think you do another Clone Wars season. Obviously, I don't know if you do the Galaxy of Adventures like kind of style. I don't know what you do, but like this cast, from what I've been kind of keeping up with, like all like the little Zoom calls and stuff they've been doing. They love this show. They love this character. They're all feeling pretty bittersweet about it ending. Mm-hmm. This is the true ending. I don't think you like retcon the ending.
Nah, they would never do that.
no, yeah.
I don't know. It's like, did we get the full 2 years? How long
Good point.
was Ahsoka gone before the Trace and Rafa arc?
Yeah.
Was that immediately? I don't know. There's a part of me that felt like that was immediately after that. But I'm just like, well, what about this other stuff? Like, where does... Yeah. I don't know.
It's interesting.
And they have all those, like... I think they straight up said it, right? One of y'all said it in the beginning. They're like, yeah, we'll do... we'll finish some of those... Yeah, we'll finish some of those.
Because they still got... They got the Boba Fett. They got some kind of... the Crystal Crisis. They've got, like, 4
They got,
arcs
the
that, like,
Kyber crystals on Utapau. Like,
they got Boba Fett's arc. They got...
That's got a really cool...
If
you've never watched that, Eric, it's got a great conversation between Obi-Wan and Anakin about Ahsoka leaving.
Oh, really?
Like Anakin dealing with those emotions. It's a big moment in that arc. They might still be somewhere on StarWars.com or something. Go look them up. But
okay.
I think they will for sure be releasing like those in this big style animation, kind of like Siege of Mandalore, where it's like, here we're gonna release an arc as like a movie or a mini series. You know, it's like
great.
Yeah, it was part of Clone Wars, but
right. Maybe
here
they
it
call
is.
it the Lost Missions 2 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want Boba Fett versus
Cad Bane.
Cad Bane. Let's get the fate of Cad Bane, please. I want to know if he's still kicking. You know?
And then this is the last thing I'll say about the shows, but I think there's a lot of promise with the Obi-Wan series.
Oh yes.
And if the rewrites have anything to do with how this ended,
oh man,
like
you're not wrong.
Make Dave one of the execs,
which he will be,
and make sure that he is
working with Deborah. I mean, he's shooting it with Deborah Chow.
He's putting his spin on it, and like have him be the make her Favreau and then make him Filoni again the show.
Yeah.
Because there's so much you can do with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
There's so much you can do with him.
So much, man. And it really did add so much.
I did.
4 episodes of the Clone Wars added so much to Star Wars.
That should be the biggest takeaway.
Main
from
characters.
This, that you can still, like, of course, animated shows have always been something that I've loved, you love, Jerry loved. People don't take them too serious, but that would be this arc. I don't know. I was talking to my stepdad about it. I'm like, if they would have made this into a movie, it would have just been insane. You know what I mean? It would have. It does so much for canon, and it also does so much more mystery for canon. It closed and opened so many doors, and I think that's the one thing that's Dave has been saying after this episode dropped. Like, we wanted to make this as top tier as possible, Star Wars, and he damn did it. He did it.
He did it.
He did it.
You did it, Filoni.
We need that gif of
mad genius. You.
Yeah, we do.
You did it.
You did it.
You did it. You did it. Oh my gosh. They are seriously touting Filoni though now. I mean, we've seen it with this Mandalorian round table gallery they've been doing.
Oh my god! Like Filoni, we talked about
and that he was on. Well, he was on Good Morning America, and he was on something else. He was on all of the networks that don't care about Star Wars all the time,
Right.
talking about the end of the Clone Wars.
I don't know, man.
And
telling you,
this man is George Lucas's Padawan.
Yep.
Okay?
You had to explain that to your dad
George.
recently. Yeah. Eric was watching that documentary with his dad, and he's like, who is this guy? And you were like, well...
I had to pause it. I was just like, well... pause.
This is the baton. Like, this is the guy that it was passed to.
The son George Lucas never had. Sorry, Jet.
Yeah.
He's like a son to me.
Yeah, he's like a son to me. And, it's heavy. That's the thing. Dave is now being, it sounds weird, groomed, not a good word, but Dave is now being like, his name is
not
showing
like Anakin.
up, which is so cool for us since we've been so invested since I've been watching this since 2013, and others have been watching it since 2008. Seeing that name popped up, and one thing I will say, how great was the very end when Vader walks off from the helmet, says created by George Lucas. Instantly, you're like, it's done. Final chapter. It's the final chapter George never got to really do, and I know he loved every second of it. Yeah. He did. I'm sure he helped write a little bit, but George was like, wow, Dave, just...
You ever wish we had like a video commentary of George Lucas watching
anything?
Like the new stuff for the first time, or like watching this? I wish we could like experience George Lucas experiencing Star Wars. Like, whoa, ooh.
Dude, I've been telling Scott, like, from the last Disney Gallery, they're, like, hyping George up. I'm like, bro, is he gonna come back?
Could you imagine? We talked about it on the phone.
Is he, like, gonna... I mean, there's a whole bunch of footage from him on The Mandalorian. Said they released that thing of the two of them talking at whatever that was. I don't know what the event was.
I still haven't watched that. I'm a bad fan.
But
I need to watch it.
Bro, you need to watch it.
We watched it together, and it was pretty
There's
damn
been
good.
more George Lucas within the Star Wars, like, stratosphere in the last 3 weeks than there has been in the last like 3 years.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like he's happy. I feel like he's pretty pleased with the. He probably doesn't like the sequels, and that's fine. But
he doesn't have to.
He was on set for Solo. There's a picture of him on set with Rogue One.
Oh yeah, Gareth Edwards.
He showed up for every one of them. It's just they didn't always like put it out like, "Hey, George showed up."
Yeah.
I feel like he at least showed up for. He showed up for Last Jedi. Like that's a thing.
He just had a phone call. He had a phone call. We have a phone call with George at this time.
I knew he talked with Ryan though, or something.
He did. Which
I would love to actually get his feelings on it, because all we have is the Pierce Morgan or whatever white slavers thing, and then now
damn it, what's his name?
He's like coming in like, I'm sorry. Can I have visitation rights on the weekends?
Rose. Yes. Charlie Rose. That was the
every other weekend, maybe.
He went to the Force Awakens premiere. That was the last one.
Yeah, that was the last premiere.
You can drop Star Wars off at Costco.
Maybe? No. What I will say is, if we get George back, it's heard here first by this man, and that would be pretty insane. Just like to have written by George Lucas at the end of one of these movies and no one knew, ghostwriting it.
I mean, it was almost like foreshadowing, and Kathy's like, George is the kind of person who watches other people direct and then wants to do it. And I was just like, yo, what are you trying to say here? Why would you put that out, Disney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a little too grabby, wishy, but
Never know.
I don't know. Can you imagine if George Lucas's legacy ended with like him doing one more Star Wars project?
Killer Star Wars movie.
Oh my god. Anyway,
I would love it.
Everything that came before it, I would love it.
I would not love the Twittersphere. With it, like social media, like
I would bathe in it. It would just
the
be like
anti-Disney people would have a field day with George coming back.
It would be insane.
I want it to. I want that.
Yeah,
of course. You know, it's just like I'm like I can't. I'm getting like shell shock. Like soy.
With the
soy
idea
milk.
of it.
I drink almond milk, suckers. Joke's on you.
We're at Anaheim, and he just walks out on stage. He's like, by the way,
I'm
writing, I'm directing the Ahsoka movie.
He comes out Celebration next year.
He would be the one to drop a ball like that, and everyone would be like
he pulls like
Kennedy.
like an Ian McDermott, and he goes like, roll it again, roll it again. It's real.
Anyway, boyos, this has been an amazing conversation. Let's get Eric some praise. Thank you for coming back on the show. Everyone, look at this beautiful face. Just know that this man is always eager to talk Star Wars. If you want to have him on your show, I'm sure you'd be more than down to do it. But with that being said, Jerry, I guess we can do plugs here. I don't know. I haven't thought about this yet. Video form. If you haven't listened to anyone else on this Beyond the Blast Doors network, give it a chance. Go listen to everyone. You got news on Thursday nights. You got kind of recaps on Friday nights with streaming Star Wars news Beyond the Blast Doors Live. Monday is Andy and Josh doing Holo Chronicles, talking about all things collecting and merchandising. And we also have Beyond the Blast Doors with Shin and Moran on Wednesday. And I forget
Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge, you mean?
Oh wait, that was it. Postcards. Sorry, Postcards from Galaxy's Edge. If you haven't yet, go listen to every other show on this network. They're fantastic, okay? This is more of the fanboy deep dive, but they got everything else for your Star Wars needs here on the Beyond the Blast Doors network. Make sure you look at that logo down there. I think it's right by Jerry. Jerry, take your... there we go. Good job, Jerry. Perfect. That is where you could find all of this. Everything great. Even the interview with Mac DeMarco and the vlog and everything Bombadcast, Around the Galaxy, Holo Chronicles, Postcards from Galaxy's Edge, streaming Star Wars and Beyond the Blast Doors Live. Make sure you go check it all out. But, Jerry, what should the wonderful Bombad people do?
Well, you should probably go watch Shattered again and cry into your pillow for the next 5 days. And you should also stay Bombad.
All Bombad.